Hi Leo, this is Tisch Aitken, and this is your monthly report for the month of October. This month has such a different energy because four planets are stationing direct, which is very helpful for all of us moving ahead in our goals and getting things done. The month of September had all of the outer planets retrograde, and on September 27th, Mercury, which is a personal planet that represents communication, business, and transportation, among other things, retrograded at 25 degrees of Libra in your third house of information, communication, local environment, neighborhood, siblings, and cousins. And currently you have three planets transiting in this sector of your chart: the Sun, Mars, and Mercury, which means a lot of emphasis on communication. When Mercury retrogrades, we hear from a lot of people from the past, particularly when it's in the house of communication. So I imagine you've been dealing with that, but also reassessing how you market yourself. If you have your own business, are you doing a marketing campaign? Are you networking? It's great for learning and taking classes. It's also good for reframing your mind and your thoughts on how you can tap into optimism. So we know a lot more forward moving energy this month. So as we begin the month of October, Neptune, which is the planet of dreams and spirituality, forms what's known as a quintile to the north node of destiny, and that can bring fated opportunities and encounters. There is combative energy that day because Mars, which is the planet of war and action, forms an opposition to Chiron, the wounded healer. And Chiron is transiting in the cardinal fire sign of Aries in your house of hope and manifesting and teaching. And hopefully you're tapping into optimism in facing your wounds and vulnerability. But that is a bit of a combative energy. And on that day, Pluto squares Mercury at 10:26 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and that can bring power struggles and arguments. And so just being aware that people will, be a bit aggressive in their communication. But it's great for doing research and uncovering things, and you're in a cycle of doing a lot of learning right now. And then on October 2nd, we have much more harmonious energy. Venus, which is the planet of love, money, and beauty, forms a beautiful sextile to Pluto, the planet of transformation. And this is helpful for up-leveling your finances, your love. Pluto rules the sign of Scorpio, where Venus is currently transiting. And this is nice energy for you for focusing on getting your needs met, on rebuilding your foundation and home. So this is nice energy for all of us. And then on October 3rd, the Sun opposes Chiron, the wounded healer, re-emphasizing the fact that we each need to heal, but also bringing light to that method, hopefully. And then on October 6th, there is a new moon that takes place at 7:05 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time at 13 degrees and 25 minutes of the cardinal air sign of Libra. And this new moon falls in your house of thoughts and ideas. So the new moon is always an excellent time for setting intentions, for doing the law of abundance, especially for you, given that it's in your house of writing and communication. Write down what you want to manifest. Really be specific. And the new moon has another big deal happening because Pluto, which is the planet of death and rebirth and transformation, stations direct at 2:29 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time at 24 degrees and 19 minutes of the cardinal earth sign of Capricorn. And we feel that energy 5 days before and 5 days after. And for you, this is happening in your house of work and habits and daily routine. And so this is really where you're going through changes, how you take care of yourself, how you do your work. It's the house of self-care. And given that that is a major planet, it may have been demoted to a dwarf planet, but it's huge. Collectively, there will be major endings that week because Pluto is the planet of death and renewal. Could be letting go of things that are blocking us, but there will be change. And then on October 7th, Venus, which is the planet of love and beauty and creativity, among other things, enters the mutable fire sign of Sagittarius, where it will be until November 5th. And it's transiting in your house of romance and children and love affairs. And this is a really fun energy. Venus in Sagittarius is very hopeful, fun, it's a nice energy. So that will be helpful. And then on October 8th, the Sun and Mars meet up at 12:01 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And they're meeting up in your house of communication. This is excellent for doing projects involving writing or research, but people could be a bit aggressive in their communication. And then on October 9th, the Sun and Mercury meet up at 12:18 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and that's good for focusing on getting organized with your communication. And this is a big time for you, all sorts of communication this fall, hearing from many different people from many different walks of life, I imagine. And so that happens. And then at 6:48 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Mars and Mercury meet up, and that could be a bit more aggressive and combative. So get work done, but just know that people might be a little ornery. And then on October 10th, we have another big deal, another planetary station, Saturn, which anchors our goals, the planet of karma and responsibility. Stations direct at 6 degrees and 56 minutes of the fixed air sign of Aquarius. That's your opposite sign in your house of partnerships. We feel that 5 days before, 5 days after. It can emphasize the restrictions, but also, once we get past that, the goals, what we work with to anchor ourselves to achieve what we want. So that's helpful. We have 2 outer planets now direct. That's great. Then on October 13th, Venus forms a beautiful sextile to Saturn. And that is great for you if you're single, for meeting people. It's good for commitment. It's good for professional endeavors and creative endeavors. And then on October 15th, the Sun forms a beautiful trine to Jupiter, the luckiest planet, at 7:46 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And that's very optimistic and could be fun for meeting people and relationships, having fun, networking in any capacity. And then on October 16th, we also have really nice energy. Venus, which is the planet of love, forms a beautiful trine to Chiron, the wounded healer. And Chiron has been transiting the last couple of years in your house of manifesting, teaching, higher learning, and hope. And that's an energy, it's a romantic energy, but very healing around love and around the heart. And then at 9:24 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Mercury, which is the planet of communication, forms a beautiful sextile to Venus. And that's very romantic energy, great for a date night, great for just loving communication, also really creative, really musical too. And then on October 17th, a lot more intensity, the Sun squares Pluto at 8:12 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And that can be good for eliminating things that aren't working for you. It's good for purging. It's good for doing a detox, but it could be intense. Pluto is definitely intense. And the other big deal is that Jupiter, which is the grand benefic stations direct on October 17th at 10:30 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, and on October 18th at 1:30 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time at 22 degrees and 20 minutes of the fixed air sign of Aquarius. We feel that 5 days before and 5 days after, and that is excellent. That is the luckiest planet. It's how we magnetize good fortune. It's how we achieve optimism, and it's also how we learn and teach and gather information. It's how we promote ourselves. And for you, Jupiter is transiting in your house of relationships until the end of the year, expanding your opportunities to connect with others. So we want Jupiter direct. That's excellent. Now we've got not yet. Mercury, the planet of communication, also stations direct on October 18th at 11:17 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time at 10 degrees and 8 minutes of the cardinal air sign of Libra in your house of local community, communication, thoughts, and ideas. And it will be in Libra until November 6th. Now we have 4 planets direct. Now we're moving ahead and getting clear. Very good. And then on October 20th, there is a full moon that takes place at 10:57 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time at 27 degrees and 26 minutes of the cardinal fire sign of Aries in your house of teaching, publicity, promotion, hope, and travel. This could bring manifestation to things you've been working on since last fall, because this full moon speaks back to when Mars retrograded on September 9th of 2020. It retrograded at 28 degrees of Aries, which is the second to final degree. So maybe things you've been working on. Mars was in Aries for 6 months last year. Maybe it's bringing resolution. Hopefully it's moving you ahead, but it's a fiery moon. Mars rules the sign of Aries. And on the following day, Mars squares Pluto at 9:20 Mars squares Pluto, and that can be combative energy. So just being aware of that fact. That happens at 9:20 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time and October 22nd at 12:20 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Good for purging things, but again, people could be combative with that energy for sure. Those are 2 very aggressive planets. And on October 23rd, the sun enters the fixed water sign of Scorpio at 12:51 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and it's transiting in your house of home, family, and emotional foundation. And for you, it's bringing light to that area of your life, and it's Scorpio season. And if you're doing projects at home, if you have your own business, that's a good energy. And then on October 26th, Venus, which is the planet of relationships, squares Neptune at 9:06 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. That can be confusing. Maybe there's a little bit of deception in relationships or just misunderstandings. On October 28th, we have nice energy. Venus and Jupiter, which are the 2 luckiest planets, are in harmony, and they form what's known as a sextile, a helpful aspect at they form a helpful aspect, and that is really helpful energy. And then we've got on October 30th, the day before Halloween, the sun squares Saturn, and that could be a reality check and a roadblock. And that is for all of us reassessing and assessing what's working. Mars enters Scorpio at 10:21 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and it will be there until December 13th in your house of home and family. That could get a bit contentious. Mars is a planet of aggression. But if you have your own business, or if you're trying to get things done, maybe you're fixing up your place, maybe you're renovating, maybe you're getting rid of a bunch of things, this is helpful for getting things accomplished. And on October 31st, Mercury forms a beautiful trine to Jupiter at 9:18 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, and on November 1st at 12:18 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Great for socializing, great for feeling optimistic and positive communication. I wish you luck, Leo, and thank you very much.